Texas is blessed with one of the greatest renewables capabilities anywhere in the United States.
We get a lot of sun. We're in the top 5% nationally.
It's a really vast, untapped solar reservoir, if you will, in the state.
Texas has a very significant advantage, particularly out west, in that if you look at a solar radiance map of the United States, we have a location that is in the best spot for solar radiance in the entire country to get the most power out of panels.
We also have a wide expanse from east to west across the span of the state. So from the perspective of filling out your day with solar resources, we've got much more of an opportunity to do that than a state like California, which is much more north-south.
We have an abundance of sun, we have an abundance of wind, and this really helps us not just have the resource, but also have it at an economical rate.
So what we've seen are declining prices. We've seen the prices of panels come down significantly, and that's just been in the last couple of years.
We've seen the prices of system decline by as much as 50%. And some of the labor costs, some of the other costs that go in with that are declining as well. So that tells us that we're seeing a very competitive market generating there.
Working with local companies is critically important to us. So we've effectively had the entire supply chain locally here in San Antonio.
Where they're producing solar panels made in Texas that then winds up producing power that comes back to the city utility. You have not only the solar electrons that come onto the grid, but you have all of the associated economic development activity along with that project.
It's critically important for us for jobs, for engagement with the community, because all of these companies too are here in San Antonio, and we think that helps in terms of getting the entire ecosystem engaged in turning out for our program and participation.
ERCOT is helpful. ERCOT has proven ability to integrate a lot of renewables into the system. So there's infrastructure in place and there's policies and regulations in place to help promote solar and wind energy.
We have an open access transmission system that no one has a priority right to. So every day, every 5 minutes, ERCOT has a numerical algorithm that looks at the total availability of transmission on the grid, and it looks at the actual bids that come in from all of the resources, and it selects the lowest cost resources to serve customer demand. So it's a market in which new efficient technologies can immediately kind of get a place and start selling their power to customers. Reliability of the grid is enhanced by having a diverse set of resources. So bringing solar onto the grid as another resource to complement the other resources that we have, that will enhance reliability.
We have a lot of electric production from solar. That means we have less fossil fuel generation. That's less exposure to volatility of fossil fuel cost in the future, and less emissions from fossil fuel generation.
So we think of distributed generation in the right place because you're generating electricity where you use it and where you consume it. And by doing that, you're more efficient because you're not having to transmit it from long distances, and it helps offset transmission losses that may happen.
What we're looking at is that the forward curve for gas prices is that prices will go up and that prices will be very volatile. And if that's going to be the case, if we're thinking about what's the best way for us to hedge that risk for our consumers, one really great way to do it is to pick a fuel source that's free and stable. And in that sense, solar, wind, renewables is one great way to help do that, to help hedge our portfolio so that customers, instead of seeing a volatile bill, their bills stay more stable.
In order for solar to break into this market, they had to be able to compete against natural gas and coal prices. And Texas has had a pretty cheap electricity grid for a while.
We've got about 230 megawatts of projects currently operating today, but we've got 6,000, 7,000 megawatts of projects that are looking to connect just to the transmission level.
So we're expecting in the next couple of years to see at least a couple thousand megawatts of solar go up.
Texas has seen very strong adoption rates, even here in San Antonio, even though we have some of the lowest rates We also have one of the highest penetrations of solar, not just due to our own policies, but also I think the interest of our consumers.
As we have more and more providers that get into the market, that are bringing other things to the customer to help provide them additional benefits, leasing programs, buyback programs, output buyback programs, things of that nature. So it's becoming more of an economic choice for these customers to take advantage of it rather than just a lifestyle statement.
So really you've got, in a way, you've got four different kinds of solar. You've got very large facilities that can be built on the transmission system. A lot of these are focused in West Texas, where there's a lot more sun. Then you've got large solar facilities that are on the transmission system but closer to customers. We've got some here around Austin, some around San Antonio right now. You can also have fairly large facilities like the one across the street here that are on the distribution system, that are attached to commercial facility or industrial facility. And you've got even smaller facilities that can go on a house. So you've got kind of four layers there. We currently are seeing significant growth in the large facilities out on the transmission system. The impacts of the resource will be very similar, whether they're built across the street, or whether they're built out in West Texas in big 10, 20, 30 megawatt solar farms.
So there are a few different rooftop rental programs, which is what ours looks like. The Solar Host SA program gives us the ability to treat it as if we were siting a power plant on everyone's roofs. We've seen an amazing turnout for that. We had more customers sign up for that in 72 hours than we'd had sign up for a traditional rebate net metering program over 7 years. That's a phenomenal turnout, and it's really based on trying to engage the community and areas of customers that have never had the opportunity, never felt like they had the opportunity to participate.
We have the CoServe solar station. That's the most recent installation we have. It's 2 megawatts AC, and we've got that to where we can sell blocks of energy to our members. And so this works out well for members who can't necessarily put solar on their own rooftop for various reasons.
Utility grade solar opens it up to people who are renters and aren't able to put solar panels on their homes. For people who live in apartments that don't have a rooftop, for people who have heavily shaded rooftops, it really gives a lot of people access to solar energy.
So if you couple more developments on the utility scale with more rooftop solar, we've got a great opportunity here in Texas for taking advantage of this natural resource that falls on us.